Hi guys, School here. Welcome back to another Derail Valley video. I did promise you in my first look video that we'd take a look at the steam train, which is the other locomotive currently available in the game, and this is it. As I say in the previous video, these are not based, or rather they're not actually branded real-world locomotives. They don't possess the rights to do that, but I'm sure it's based on something. I'm sure you guys, or some of you guys, will probably know what it is. So we're going to basically drive this today, or attempt to drive this today. It is a bit of a handful, I have to say. Very easy to let the speed run away with you. The last time I drove this train was on a stream the other day, and I managed to put it in the water. I managed to derail it and stick it in the lake. So that could happen again today. We shall see how it goes. Hopefully not, but I have chose a challenging job. Let me just show you what job we've gone for. Not that one, that was boring. Decided not to do that one. This one here is what I've decided to do. It's a 436-ton haul. That's quite a lot of weight. I don't even know if this thing is capable of hauling it, and I don't know how steep it is to the machine factory town. So if you have a look on the map where that is, we're currently here in the steel mill, and just to the kind of northwest there is the machine factory in town, which basically means we need to head west out of here, through the farm. We need to turn right before City Southwest, and then we need to head alongside that kind of what looks like a water valley type kind of thing. Keep left, and then keep right and head into the machine factory in town. I've not been there, so I don't know what the landscape looks like around there. And I don't know how well the steam train can haul, or how well I can manage it. There's the potential here for lots of things to go wrong. A lot of weight, a long haul, and a lot of money being paid if we get it there. Let's go and have a look at the actual cargo itself. It's FH03 job, and if we flick over, it tells us that it's on track 013. Now, I've not currently got this thing validated yet, so we've got a bit of time to have a quick look around, but I think it's one of these here. I think it might be. Let's have a look at the car numbers. CFF 58, that's this one. Yep. So 58, 57. Let's keep going down here, all the way down to this N1 is 51. Right, so it's this entire set on this track. Let's see what track this is. 14, 13. Yeah, now then. In terms of orientation, we need to head that way. That way is west. So we're going to have to probably get the steam. Hang on, where's the loco? Loco's down. Oh, there's the loco, right. So if we bring the loco out this way, yeah, this is what we'll do. Let's get the signals set up, or the point set up here, so that we can make this happen. So we're going to come off this track here, like that. We're going to join in. We're going to come along here. We're going to get to this one. Join in there. Sure. Anything we can do ahead of time is going to save us a bit of time later, I think. Okay, now before we get to this one, actually that's a good point. Where are we going from here? Are we going right or left? We're going right, so we need to flick that one as well. Okay, so we're going to roll up to here. Then we're going to slap it in reverse. And we're going to come back this way. And at this point, we need to go, I think, left. And then left again, probably. Yep, there's 13. And then right into 13. Connect. And head out that way. That's the plan here. But I'll show you how to start up the steam train as well. Let's have a quick look at the guide. I'll just quickly talk you through the guide here. Actually, let's jump on board and do this. So I've not accepted the job yet, so we've got a bit of time that we can just explore the loco and have a look around, and I'll explain how it all works. So this giant arm here is the regulator. So it says make sure the regulator is released. So if you left click and hold, you can push the mouse forward, and you can pull it back. So that is fully open released. It shows you at the bottom there to pull it. So that's in the released position, and then the fire door goes open. That's this thing. So remember, it's built for VR, this game, so you're kind of meant to be holding controllers, but you can do it with the mouse. It's just not quite as easy, but you can do it with the mouse. So you've got that. Open the fire door, shovel the coal in the firebox. So when you do the tutorial, you should get a shovel that you can actually use. You do need to do this en route as well. It will start to burn through this coal, and you will need to keep this thing topped up. Like that. Let's see what else we've got. Shovel the coal in the firebox, then it's going to be light it. We'll do that in a second. Close the fire door. Add water to the boiler using the injector. Now you can do this. This is the water level. There's the level there. And this is the release valve. So if you click the bottom of it and then drag it to the right, you can see the water level go up. And this is obviously something else that you need to keep your eye on. You need to make sure this is topped up with water. Make sure that's fully closed as well. Because with VR, you can apparently just get your controller and just twist it, but it's a little bit more fiddly with the mouse. If you try this game, you'll see what I mean. So we've got to keep that thing topped up. That's one thing we have to do. We have to keep that with coal, so we have to throw coal in there now and again. Close the injector when the water meter is full. We've done that. Observe steam being generated. So once we light this thing and shut the door, this steam gauge is going to start to rise in pressure, and this pressure is what's going to generate us the power. Now, there is the potential here for this thing to over-pressurize as we go along, and there is actually there it is, a steam dump valve. So what you do is you grab this, and you do that. I'll close it for now. When you open that valve, it will dump the steam pressure out through the system. There's also a water dump, so I guess you can basically dump water out of here. Then there's a blower, and then there's a fire out. I've not had to use any of those yet, thankfully. So then you've got the roll cut off. You can almost think of this a little bit like the reverser, in that you've got forward and reverse. But if you look, it says top power, middle speed. So I guess the way to think of this is if you have it in the middle position here, and you can use the throttle keys to move this, not throttle keys, the reverser keys, funnily enough. So you can just use the hotkeys to turn this. That would be full power forward. That would be full power in reverse. And that would be top speed. So really you need to start this in this position. And then as you want to pick up speed, you kind of roll it back a bit. The big problem is trying to keep your speed under control, because once this thing gets going, it really does start to haul. Particularly when there's no cars on the back of any weight, which today we're going to have a lot of weight. So that's going to be fun trying to manage this. So then you release the brake. That's the, you can use the M and N key to do that. That releases the brake. That puts the brake on. This one here, if I remember, that's the fire door. And then this one, I think, is the sand. Yep. So there's your sand quantity. So you would haul that lever down if you want to sort of drop sand, if you're getting wheel slip. Gently push the regulator forward, so you can kind of consider this roughly to be your throttle, and this to be your reverser, and your brake to be your brake. That's the way to think about this. For higher top speed, pull back on the cutoff. So you've got to be kind of looking out the window, and by the way, the Q and E key does lean. I didn't tell you that in the last video, so you can actually lean out of this thing. You want to see where you're going, see what's coming up ahead, check your speed, decide if you want more or less on the reverser there, more or less on the regulator. Make sure your steam's topped up and you're generating pressure, but not too much. Cut it off if you do. Make sure you're topped up on water. Release that if you need to. Open the door, shovel coal in, all while trying to make sure that your train doesn't run away with you and you derail into a lake. That's the kind of fun that you're going to see me do. This may turn into a massive fail, but we shall see. So maintain fire as needed, add coal, so we're going to have to do that. To coast, release the regulator. So, in other words, if you're going along and you've got the speed that you want, back off on the regulator, and that will sort of disengage the drive, if you like, and you won't sort of pick up more speed. So that's how you do that. To stop, apply the brake, obviously. If the wheels are slipping, reduce regulator, so don't put as much drive through the wheel. And then apply a bit of sand, which is that lever that we've already talked about. Fire tips, temperature. Higher temperature means faster steam generation. So that's that one there. That is the temperature inside the boiler, if you like. Blower, boost fire using steam, useful when stationary. So that's this one here, the blower. Now the blower is apparently, we can't see it. It's a vent underneath the firebox. And what happens when you open that is it basically channels the air into the furnace, where it, you know, moving air will then cause a much greater, much increased kind of rate of flame, if you like, of fire generation. So like it says, if you want to boost the fire, open the blower and get more power out of it that way. Maybe that will be something that we need as we're climbing. I don't know. Fire tips draft. Use fire ventilation useful when on the go. Actually, I just got that wrong. That's the one I just described, is that one. That lowers the vent. So that's the one to use on the go, and this one is to use when stationary. So if you want to build your fire up when you're not moving, use the blower. And if you want to build your fire up when you're moving, open the vent and it'll allow the air underneath. That's what I meant to say. And that's it. That's all 19 pages of that. So we've set the points up. We know where we're going. We know what we're doing. Lol. Let's go and hand in the job. Now, there's a bit of a bug at the moment where the thing that I threw away materializes back in my hand. But this is the one we want, so we'll validate that now. There we go. We actually don't care about this, so we'll just throw that in the bin. What we care about is this, and the clock is now ticking. So let's go and throw the lighter into the box and get this thing moving. One thing I didn't do, which I should have done. Oh, no, I'm not going that way. I'm going forward. Ignore me. I was going to say we didn't set the points up, but we did. Right, so let's get the lighter, which is this thing. And what you do is you press the G key and throw it in there, and then close the fire door. Like so. And then wait for the pressure to build. I suppose what we could do is open the blower. So the temperature's rising quite nicely. Steam pressure's starting to build. That's the blower there, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll close that. Right, so we've got 400 Celsius. Now, one of the best things about the steam, and I absolutely love doing this on this steam train. I think we've got enough steam pressure now, but I want to show you this. Just get a load of this. You ready? This is the horn. Or rather the whistle. How utterly cool is that? It's just the best. Anyway, we have enough pressure, so we're going to release the brake. We're going to put the reverse into forward, and we're going to move the regulator a little bit, and we should start moving. Listen to this. Back off on the reg, because we're already doing like... You see how quickly that builds up speed? Doesn't it sound beautiful, though? Oh my god, it sounds so good. Okay, let's do it like 10. Now, we are against the clock, but I'm not that bothered about the time bonus. I'd rather just get there safely, because I am still learning this. I don't know the limits of the train or the cars. Keep an eye on that pressure. Water level's already come down, see that? So while I've got a little bit of downtime, let's chuck some more water in there. Let's watch out on that pressure. Maybe like, is that the one? Steam dump valve. Dump a bit of steam, you can see the steam coming out here. To make sure that thing stays nice and stable, don't want it to get too pressurized. So we're aiming to get down there, aren't we? So let's give it a little bit more juice. Steam pressure's still good. So if I just jump out here and you can just have a quick look at this. Look at this. How magnificent is this? Isn't it so cool? I love it. Right, let's close the pressure a little bit. We'll just leave it open a little bit and just let some air kind of bleed out. Then, as soon as we get past this point here, we'll jump out and switch it. Back off on the reg. Get ready on the brakes. Make sure we get well past that. That's enough. Right. Somehow I've ended up on the roof. Okay, can't get out of my vehicle. Brakes! Okay, fully release the regulator. And we'll just jump out and switch that signal round. We'll get the remote junction thing out, not the wallet, and flick that. And assuming we did all the points correctly, that should put us in the right place. So we're going to flick the reverser to the reverse position, release the brake, check on the pressure there, good pressure. I've still got that open, by the way, but that's fine. And then just open the throttle. Now, did you hear that little bell? That like sounded like a dinner bell. What that is it means you're getting low on the old coal here. So now's not the perfect time, but it's not a terrible time to quickly shovel. I think 3 is the limit, and 4, 5 should do it. Shut the door, check the pressure, check the water. Double check where we're going. We'll add a little bit more water in there. We'll shut that. Now, I just heard the little bell again, which I don't quite understand why, because I've just filled this thing up, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. I've got other things to focus on right now, which is driving this thing. Just back off on the reverser. Sorry, on the reg. Okay, we've got rising pressure, temperature's good, water's good. Now once we start hauling, this is going to be an entirely different thing. And also when we're actually en route, I want to talk to you about the roadmap, the Derail Valley roadmap, which I managed to find on the Discord server. Okay, let's just check our speed here. Very hard to see what you're doing, but leaning definitely helps. It's our speed. 10 Ks, that's fine. Get ready on the brakes. Okay. Hopefully, yes, we're now in range. So we'll lock onto that. I'm just going to double check we've got the right cars, because I'd hate to actually take the wrong car. CF51 down to 58, I believe it was. CF51 to 58. Right, definitely got the right cars. Okay, bring up the map. We want to take a first right out of here. So we can head straight on. We've already set the points up further down, so we'll stick the Versa into the forward position. We've got a lot of pressure here, so we're going to start releasing. Let's see how it goes with pressure. Listen to that working. Oof. Fantastic. Oh yeah. I can't tell you like how much fun it is being able to do this. It's just so cool. Okay, pressure's good. We've still released a slight amount. I don't know what. There's nothing in the instructions to tell you what kind of pressures you should be aiming for at this point, so it's very much just guesswork for me. Oops. Okay. Let me just quickly jump back down there. Okay, that's plenty speed right there. Let me just release a touch of gas pressure. Water levels are fine. We're doing 20 plus Ks. Let's open the firebox while we've got a bit of time. So normally you would have somebody else, I guess, on board actually doing some of this grunt work so the driver can focus on driving. But this is a one-man operation, so we're going to have to deal with it. Now, the key thing, I think, is to keep your eye on the speed and keep your eye on that pressure, though. We don't want the speed to run away with us. So we're going to take a left out of here. I need to figure out how to navigate through the farm. So let's bring up the station map of the farm. Let's go back a few pages. farm. So if approaching from the northeast, which we are, we want to head straight through in the southwest. Want to make sure the points are taken as straight. Okay, I'm just going to apply some brake here. Not too much, because we've actually got a straight bit of track, so we can use the speed. Water's good, pressure's good. Release the brakes again. And at this point we can sort of back off on the old regulator there, because we're aiming for speed, not power now. And I can see a point coming up, which I wasn't expecting. Okay, I think we want to go left. We don't want to go to the right. That's going left, that's fine. Because we want to go left into the farm, I believe. Now, I'm going to slow us down just as we go through here, because I don't want to go too fast through these sets of points. Don't know what the speed limit is. I've heard the flat cars are a bit sensitive to speed through the points, though. Okay, pressure's looking a little bit high, so we'll just release a little bit. I don't know if that's the right place for us to go. Right, I assume it might be. Check on the speed. As you can see, it becomes a little bit manic in terms of having to manage what you have to do. So right and then left will take us straight, so that's fine. So the points look okay, so we can focus on operating the train. Put the rake back into forward there. Pressure's fine, water's fine. Firebox will have to wait for now. And we'll just bring a little bit of throttle and just try and manage the speed through here. But yeah, it's a little bit of a... It's like spinning plates, this. It's like flying a helicopter or something, you know? You've got to constantly be making some adjustments. You can't just stick it in cruise control or anything like that. Now then, after the farm, assuming this is taking us straight through, we need to make a keep right as we hit that junction there, past the oil well. Actually, there's an oil well central as well, isn't there? Crikey, hang on. Come on, interface. Oil well central is this one. Again, straight through. We're going to have to try and negotiate straight through. Okay, pressure's falling. Let's close that release valve. I must admit, this thing is super thirsty for coal. Shut the door. Pressure's on the rise. And we'll have to get through this point here. To get through here, we'll be heading down to the oil well. 20, is that good enough? Is that too quick? No, I think that should be fine. Make sure the brakes are released. That's a reasonable speed, I think, to go through these points. We'll just double check everything's alright back there. Seems to be. At some point, what I'll do is I'll start kind of exploring the limits, if you like. I'll go through these points at like 30 and then maybe 40 and see what you can get away with. Because I need to understand where the limits lie. It's quite a little bit of throttle now. Pressure. Just a little bit of pressure. Okay, that must be the oil well central, I think. Speed's good. Water level is fine by the look of it. Get back off on the rake because we're actually picking up some speed. Okay, right, I'm just going to jump ahead and figure out what's going on here. That's set for right, that's set for left, so we're actually going straight through. So the points are set fine. We are picking up speed though, so I think we're on a slight declination here. But But we are going straight. We're not going through anything. So we should be okay at this speed. Cool. And then after that, we just need to keep right at the junction. So this is great. It's going okay so far, although the pressure's building. And the boiler. Let's just move that rig back to bar. Yeah, look at the pressure. Blimey, that built up dangerously high. I don't know if the box explodes or not, or whether it just breaks out in a fire or something. But it's best not to try these things, I think. Cool, I've not been through here before. Okay, don't need to worry about any more points. Let's get some coal in there while we've got a free moment. Nice. Let's have a look through the window. There we go. So it looks like we're going to be heading over there, and then I think that's where we bear right. Speed is 25. Pressure is good. Of course, when you're, you're constantly burning, so you're constantly generating steam and pressure. And if you're not actually using it because you're going downhill, you've got to release it. Otherwise, the furnace will just, well, the boiler will just detonate. So that's the reason. As we start to climb and put more power through the wheels, we won't need to do this. Let's give it a bit of steam now. At some point we're going to start going uphill, and I think that time might be now, you know. So, just to talk quickly about the roadmap, the kind of things they've got coming up. Saving games is obviously one of them, because it's, at the moment, the only thing that's really saved is the money that you have in your wallet, and that only happens at job completion. So that's one of the things that's on the list to do first. Also, the whole item storage thing, the idea that you can, put your items somewhere, like your shovel or your lighter or whatever that you perhaps don't need when you're doing diesel runs. So just have like a locker that you can put your things in. Service penalties, like I say, if when you're driving, let me slow this thing down a touch. When you're driving, you're causing wear and tear on the wheels and on the engine, and particularly if you drive too quickly through points, you will actually cause damage. At the moment, there's no penalty for that, but that, the intention is that there will be. So as well as the costs of filling up consumables such as water and coal and diesel and that kind of thing, you'll also have to pay for damage to the locomotives themselves. Right, that's signalling right, which is where we want to go. We're doing 20, which should be okay. I mean, this, for all I know, guys, this may be too slow. Like, I may be able to blast through here a lot quicker, but I'm just erring on the side of caution right now. That's the plan. So we're going to put that back into a bit more towards power, just in case it starts climbing. So they're going to update the job system as well, and they're going to allow you to haul hazardous materials. Now, I don't know how that's going to work in terms of, like in Eurotruck, you can move hazardous materials if you have the license to do it. So maybe in this game you'll have to buy a license to do it, but, is there going to be a higher penalty if, for example, you derail a train with hazardous material on it? Is there going to be like some kind of environmental cleanup penalty? I don't know. That's a possibility, isn't it? Let's keep that loaded. The reason I want to keep this loaded now is when I've got the opportunity, when I've got time, I would rather use that time to, make sure our coal box is full, rather than have to deal with that when I don't have the time to do it. Okay, now we're either... What are we doing? 20 through here. That was quite a sharp turn. That was quite a sharp turn. I'm just a little bit concerned they're going to derail. You can certainly see them moving around. That was definitely on the limit. Okay, quick check of the map. Next is city southwest, then we need to turn again. Can't see through there now. Okay. We can allow our speed to build up a little bit now, I think. Also just watching the gas pressure. We need to release a bit of pressure because we're not really burning very much. Speed's okay. Pressure's under control. Just. So yeah, hazardous materials sounds fun. At the moment it's just moving kind of steel and ore and that kind of thing around and goods, as per the industrial kind of diagram that I showed you. But in terms of hazardous materials, it'll be interesting to see how the gameplay is actually utilised as well. So the whole, like the world that we're in, they're going to rework the harbour station. That's the big thing down the bottom right there. They're going to rework that. They're going to add in loads of villages and houses. They're going to put speed signs up. They're going to put gradient signs up, which is definitely one of the things that's missing currently. Okay, that's signalling right, which is good. So yeah, one of the things that I'm missing at the moment is any kind of speed limit, but also the main thing is the gradient. Like, I don't know whether we're about to go up or down, so that would be very, very useful to know in advance. A little bit of texture stretching going on here. Speed's doing 20. Going through a relatively straight point, and then we'll be making what looks like a sharp right-hand turn over the water, so maybe a bridge there. Let's close that valve off a little bit. Water level is good. Just going to back off on the regulator. I don't want to go too quickly. The whole, like, the shunter remote controller thing, which is this thing. Oh no, not that, sorry. They're going to add a remote controller for the shunter train, the diesel train that I showed you in the last video. And perhaps one of the bigger things they're going to do later on is add MPUs. So at the moment, if you want to haul a really heavy kind of cargo, you can do it. Let me just brake here. I'm just going to bring it down to 20. You can actually do it with 2 locomotives. Like, you could hook up 2 diesel locomotives. But the problem is that they're not linked. So what you'd have to do is keep running between the 2 locos. So you'd have to sort of, you know, make your throttle adjustments here, jump out, jump in the other one, make throttle adjustments there. But it is technically possible to use 2 locos to haul something in the game at the moment, but what they're going to do is add like full kind of MPU support, so one will act as a slave, a master and a slave to the other, which is how it should be. Let's keep that firebook loaded. Okay, pressure's fine, water level is good. Let's give it a little bit of throttle. Regs in the forward position. There we go. And then in terms of like things that they're looking to do, which is coming later, we're talking about a rail bus. So I'm not 100% sure what they mean by a rail bus. They're going to add an electric locomotive. So at the moment we've got a diesel electric and we've got a steam. They're going to add a full electric locomotive. They're going to allow custom skin locos. So I don't know if that means custom locos or ability to customize the skin on the existing locos. I think possibly the latter. Let's see where we are on the map. Yeah, we've got a fairly straight bit coming up and then a junction at the top though. So maybe we'll just bring the regulator. Sorry, this thing back a little bit. Pick up a little bit of speed. dump some of the pressure. And watch out for wherever we start to turn left. They're going to add new cars that you can haul. More cargo stuff. They're going to have save game slots. You'll be able to own your own trains and own your own depots, which sounds very, very interesting. I'm not sure of the gameplay element of owning your own depots. I'm not sure what they plan to do with that. But you'll be able to buy your own trains, which I guess implies that you'll have to rent trains. So I guess that'll work like Eurotruck. Initially, when you start out Eurotruck, you've got to use somebody else's truck, and you're just the hired driver. But then later on, you can own your own, which means, you know, you have to look after it and pay any repair bills, but equally you can earn a lot more money doing it. So I guess it's more steering towards that kind of thing. Building up a bit too much pressure for my liking here. Just the map. Okay. We can afford a little bit more speed. Touch. Let's actually jump out and have a look at this from the outside. Let's get on this hill, because I bet this looks amazing. Oh, look at that. That is so cool. So yeah, you'll be able to own your own trains, own your own depots. You'll be able to, as well as derail your train, which is something you can do now, you'll be able to re-rail it. Okay, we're doing 40. Let's close that. We're probably coming up to a junction soon. So because I don't know the area, I don't know how long these stretches take, you know? But I know that when we turn left though, I don't want to be going too quickly. So I think I might just coast it, because we're already doing quite a bit of speed. What else have we got? Turntable. They're going to add a turntable. They're going to add signals. They're going to add aged tracks. So these tracks that we're riding on will actually age. Now, quite what that means, I don't know in terms of gameplay. Whether it increases your chances of derailing, or whether that's something that you have to contribute to cost-wise. I simply don't know at this stage. Right, we've got that junction coming up. There it is. We're going to have a look ahead. Okay, so that's currently signalling left, and that is quite a sharp turn, so I'm going to go and get my speed under control here. Otherwise, we are about to head for disaster. Okay, now we're slowing down. We'll just open the vent. Sure this is loaded with coal. I'd be very interested to try this game in VR just to see how different it is to actually operate the train. Just managed to lose all momentum. Come on, girl. Looks like I hit the brakes a bit too much. But if I'd have kept the speed I was going at, we'd have 100%. We would have derailed. Let's keep that closed while we're needing the power. It's all a learning experience here. Trying to figure out how to use this thing properly. What else have we got? Turntables, aged tracks. They're going to add roads. I'm not sure what the roads are for. Maybe they're just going to put kind of vehicles driving around on there. Are they going to add that? What's the water level? Water level appears to be fine. Pressure's building. We've got a good speed through here. Let's just that. We'll rake back a touch. Okay, we've got a sharpish left turn going on. So yeah, as you can see, there's a certain amount of planning that has to happen and a certain amount of figuring things out as you go along. It does make it quite challenging though. Keep it at 20 through there. So, just quickly looking at the job, we have to go to I-07 I-07 at the machine factory. I-07 is first left, first right. By the look of it. Okay, let's bring that back. Okay, pressure's rising a bit. Chucking a bit more welly. Everything's still in one piece. The back of the train has just made it through the signal there. Sorry, yeah, the point, sorry. I keep saying signal. I'm a little bit focused right now. What else have we got? So yeah, the MPU stuff. They're going to add a pocket watch, so you'll be able to see what time it is, which will be good, because I kind of feel like the time elements at the moment is missing. The time bonus thing is irrelevant, because you don't know what time you're starting and stopping. Stat booster upgrades, they say. I'm not really sure what that's all about. Stat booster upgrades. Case with decent pressure. We've got a right-hand turn coming up, haven't we? We'll see. We'll see where it's at. Let's give it a bit more power through here. I kind of feel like we're going uphill because it's struggling a little bit. Just holding 20, that's fine. What else have we got? Passenger haul jobs and passenger timetable jobs. So that's obviously the big one. I guess that's going to be like later this year. I know there's only 5 guys, I think, in the team working on this, and they're looking to hire another dev. So quite how quickly this game will develop, I don't know. But once they start adding passengers and passenger timetables, and also AI trains is planned to be added, it's, you know, this game definitely has potential, for sure. Let's back that off slightly. Let's bring that back. Right, signal. Sorry, point is currently on the right, which is where we want to go. I'm just going to cruise through there. We're going to quickly load up on some coal. Let's get that closed. Now we're going straight on, so we don't need to be quite as slow as we have been. But further afield, further ahead, we're going to have to go left and right, so we are going to have to deal with those points in a moment. But for now, we'll just kind of cruise at this speed. Ignore that. That's not actually there. It's just part of the scenery. Let's go all the way down here and have a look. Okay, this is further than I thought. This looks like a climb here. Then there's a left. And then we want a right. And that should put us into that one, which is 7. Track 7 is this one. It's the right there. This needs to be on left. And this needs to be on left. It is. Okay, we're all set. Let's get back in the train. This was a lot further than I thought it was, but we have got a climb coming up here, so we need to keep this momentum going. Ah. Speaking of momentum... let's close that. Gonna have to release this. Release the brakes. Fantastic. That thing has got some serious pulling power. I was slightly fearful as to whether this train would handle the 478 tons we've got in the back, but blimey. It's extraordinary. gas pressure released. Yeah, it's building the momentum. I think we'll probably need the momentum to go through this incline that takes us up to the factory. Well, I think we can afford to go a bit quicker. I like the visual clues, like if you open the steam valve, you can actually see the steam coming out. It gives you a clue as to whether you've left any valve open or not. Use our spare time. Make sure that that is loaded. I'm happy to try and cruise at like 40 up here. Are we losing speed if we back off? Yes, we are. Let's put a bit more in. Yeah, I think this is the bit where it climbs. Let's give it some welly. As soon as you see that first signal, we shall back off. Just let the speed bleed off on the incline, because we're about to make a left turn here, aren't we? And I don't want to derail at this point. So we'll put that back onto more power. Take the throttle off completely. Just keep the momentum going. Oh, this is a joy to drive once you get used to it. Oh my god. All these things that you have to manage, it's just so challenging, but so much fun. Let's open that valve a little bit. Okay, let's kill a little bit of speed there. Not happy about the speed we were going. I really hope we're on 7. Yes, we are track 7 though. Okay, that's a perfect speed. Just let it cruise in. Fantastic, look at this. How awesome is this? Ah, it just looks amazing, doesn't it? Where does I-7 end, actually? Oh, it's right down here. Okay, it's all good. Beautiful. What a sight. Oh, man. There's just something awesome about steam trains. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the kind of... There's just something very natural about them. The fact that you basically throw coal in there, which you've dug out the ground, start a fire, chuck water in, boil the water, and just create power from it. It's just so kind of understandable, isn't it? Now, quite how we turn this thing off, I have no idea. So, let's see. Have we got any kind of fire out? Is that it? Does that even turn? Does that actually put the fire out, I wonder? Maybe that restricts the airflow to it and turns the fire off. Pressure's dropped. Put the valve. I don't know. Right, let's disconnect. Brakes are fully on. Reverser back to neutral. I'm just gonna leave that open, you know. Just dump all that stuff coming out of here. Alright, let's try and find the white building where we get paid. Now this is another thing I'd like to see on the map, is some kind of directions. Here we go. Here it is. Let's get the job validated. Job complete. Page 2, 13,800. Let's get the wallet. There you go. Job is complete, guys. Fantastic. Job done. Seal of approval, 13,822. Move in that stuff. No penalties and stuff at the moment. Now, if you actually look on a map, you can see that this place has a shop, which is the blue thing. Steam service it doesn't have. And diesel service. So if you wanted to get your steam train service, what you'd have to do now is drive north to the iron ore mine west, where there's actually a service. So we could refill with coal, water, all that kind of thing, but we can't do it here. So that's another thing you have to bear in mind. And the shop basically means this stuff here. Now, what I'm saving up for is this. Old Bob's Garage Key, $65,000, unlocks a secret vehicle. That's what I'm aiming for. So at the moment, I think I've got, like, what is it? 30,000. So I need to save up. But I hope you enjoyed that look at the steam train. What an absolute beauty that is. And I would be interested to hear your comments on what you think about the game so far. Whether you've gone ahead and bought it, maybe. Whether you're hooked up with the devs in the Discord server. And yeah, just let me know. I intend to make more videos of this game, particularly as it progresses, because I'm really, like, cautiously excited about this. I like where it's going. It has that wonderful indie feel, and I do like the kind of detail they've put into it. But give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Until the next one, take care, guys. Happy training.